Hey there, Goblin Horde. I am the Goblin King. It's Friday, so I'm watching Friday Night Tights and going through articles to find a story that I want to cover. I also built the video for the anime review today, and I'll be editing the audio, so I should have that to you all tonight. It's been a while since I covered the topic of tonight's story. Damn, at least a good 6 months. Can't recall rightly whether I covered it in a pop culture breakdown or a rant video or both. Guess it doesn't matter. After getting about a minute and 10 seconds into the first episode of this trash fire and turning it off in disgust, I decided I didn't give a fuck and haven't covered anything about it since. Well, it's a rather slow news day today, and this is the first thing I found that even remotely interested me. So I'm finally going back to the poisoned well that is Amazon's supposed Wheel of Time adaptation. Now, don't get things twisted. I don't find the show even remotely interesting. This article only interests me for its example of how, once again, this show fails at everything related to Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. Rafe Chudkins is a complete and utter chode. So, this article is coming from Bounding Into Comics and it's pretty short, so I think we can just pretty much go through the whole damn thing. First of all, it was recently announced they've cast Avinda for the second season of this monstrosity, and they cast a woman named Ayula Smart. It was actually announced by the giant chode himself at the last JordanCon. Though why that giant chode gets to be within 500 feet of JordanCon, given what he's done to Robert Jordan's creations, I don't understand. For real, the people who run this con should be putting out restraining orders on this piece of shit. Him and anyone associated with Amazon or that disgusting show. Cons are for actual fans, not for corpo fluffers like Chudkins. As the article deftly points out, it's not exactly coming as some sort of a shock to see that, once again, these fucking idiots are race-swapping a key character in the Wheel of Time books. They point out several within this small sentence, including Perrin, Egwene, and Nynaeve. Given my initial aversion, though, I hadn't seen anything on who these morons picked to play men, and holy fucking shit. Fucking seriously. I mean, look at this. You know damned well they just saw the name of that character and immediately went, "Duh, we need Chinese woman, duh." Yet, these are the stupid fucking sons of bitches that claim they're not racist. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Sorry about that, I just hadn't seen that, and while I figured they'd do something like that, gods, actually seeing it, I don't know why they still have the capacity to blow my mind with their blatant racism, but they do. Anyway, the Bounding article segues from that into the casting of Elaine Trakand, where it seems they cast this girl, Cara Coveney. That name sounds totally UK too. Which, just first impressions, I'm not getting a lot of Elaine vibes from her, but that could just be the red hair. One of Elaine's most prominent descriptive features in the books was her golden blonde hair after all. Now, it's cool to see a ginger cast in anything these days, but again, that was Elaine's most prominent physical feature. They could dye this girl's hair blonde, but naturally redheaded girls always look really washed out when they go blonde. Don't believe me? Deborah Ann Woll, Lindsay Lohan, Laura Prepon. There are probably more, but those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Then they go on to talk about how this casting of Avinda is actually against Amazon's recent inclusion policy, which states, in black and white here, quote, casting actors whose identity, gender identity, nationality, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, disability, aligns with the character they will be playing. And yet, in Jordan's books, she's very clearly described from the very start. Because despite how certain morons at theonering.net and self-described moronic Tolkien scholars think, that's how books work. They use words to describe everything they can about a character to paint a picture with words. So you always know what they are supposed to look like. Now, certain fine details may differ in your mind's eye than in someone else's, but the basic picture is always there. Jordan described her as looking like Rand's cousin, after all, which meant that they were close enough in resemblance physically to seem as though they were related by blood. Basically because Rand has Aiel blood. He was actually the only one in the Two Rivers who should have stood out for having slightly darker skin than the rest of the people. Not Nynaeve, Egwene, or Perrin. Also, red hair. All the younger Aiel that were described in those books had red hair, and they were descended from a European-looking folk that had lived in the desert for a couple thousand years. Oh, hey, someone correct me if I'm wrong on the timeline there too. I can't quite recall how long it was from the breaking of the world to the age Jordan was writing about. So if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know. But yeah, when she's first introduced, Avinda is described as being tanned, having red hair, and blue-green eyes. There's even a fancy official ebook cover that portrays Avinda, Nynaeve, and Elaine from Book 8, The Path of Daggers. Now, the Bounding article makes a complaint about that, stating that her hair should be shorter the way she was described in The Dragon Reborn. However, as I said, this cover is from Book 8. The Dragon Reborn was Book 3. There were at least a couple of years between those books, and from Book 3 to Book 8, Avinda had changed as a character and actually grown her hair out when she accepted her changed role in Aiel society. So, the cover's on point. Now, unless they were just saying that she should look like that, but have shorter hair, in which case, disregard what I just said. The article then talks about this handy little thing. It's on a Wheel of Time blog and apparently contains the models Jordan used when visualizing his characters, found from notes that he'd left behind, probably for Brandon Sanderson. However, it states quite clearly that the idea for Avinda's looks that he had was a young Sophia Loren. As you can see, these two actresses look nothing alike. This is coming from the man who literally created the world that these idiots are bastardizing with their bullshit and blatantly going against their own company-wide mandates. As I said, Rafe Judkins is a moron, an asshole, a chode, a fake geek, and an all-around piece of fucking shit. Like most of these Hollywood scumbags. It's not surprising that Amazon would go against their own rules the first chance they got when it came to race-swapping a character. Not at all. Anyway, that's all I can say about this one, people. As always, these are my opinions and nothing more. Let me know what you thought in that handy section down below. While you're down there, I tell you that you might find Amazon's integrity down there, but I'm pretty sure that never actually existed. It's a myth, like a unicorn, an honest government, or an honest journalist. If you like what I do, and you want to join the Horde, you can do so by crushing those like and subscribe buttons, like a goblin, which are completely real and not mythical. I'll see you all on Monday for some more pop culture hypocrisy. See you then. Lates.